Hello folks, Abfielder here and welcome to this video. And today's video is about the farmer mechanics in Minecraft Java 1.16. Specifically, it's around how big should I make my villager farms. Now, you may have seen in the last few days that I've done a few tutorials on villager farms. So I've done an automatic wheat farm, and I've done the automatic crop farms for the other crops. Wheat's slightly different, so I did two different tutorials. And then I turned them into stackable farms. And in all those designs, I've done fairly similar pod sizes. That's the size of the individual unit that I put a single villager in. And whilst I was doing that video, I made the claim that you shouldn't make those pods any bigger because that's kind of the maximum you'll get from your villager. And based on the building work I'd done, I believe that, but I hadn't actually tested it or proved it out. And that's what I wanted to do with this video. So in front of me, I've got two units. So on the right hand side there, I have a single water source farm. They're both square units. I haven't done anything fancy with the design. And they're both the maximum size that you can have in terms of a number of squares that you can till before they'll dehydrate. So 4 out from each water source. So single one on the right hand side, and that's 80 blocks in total, I think. And then it's quadruple the size on the left. And I'm interested to see what the output is from these villagers. Now, before I've chucked them in, I've made sure the crops are 100% grown. Because the other thing I want to see is kind of how many individual blocks do they harvest during a working day. So in 1.16 and in some of the previous versions, they don't work during the night. They only work, I think it's like 8 till 4 PM. And they don't work that hard. They do a lot of wandering around. So there is a limit to what you can do in terms of size. The other limitation with the farm on the left is the fact that the villager can't see from one side to the other. I think the limit is 15 blocks. If he is over on the left hand side, for example, right now, and he harvests a block, and there is one on the right hand side that needs harvesting, he can't see that. That's okay when your farm's full, but if like he's been harvesting loads of stuff and there's not a lot else for him to harvest, it means he'll just kind of wander around. He won't head towards that specific block, so that might cause a problem too. And also getting back to the villager, maybe, not so sure on that one. They only seem to drop food off once per day as well after they've been harvesting for the day. So let's run some tests. So the first test that we're going to do is I've dropped these farmers into a fully bone mealed up carrot farm and given them a full day to work. So we'll come back once it goes to night and see how much they've dropped off. And then we'll give it an hour and then we'll maybe do some more tests after that. Okay, so I've given these fine villagers a full day's work and let's have a look. So this is the quadruple farm and we've just got stuff dropping through there. And let's just have a look at the single one. So we've got at the moment a lot less running through there. So yeah, let's let those run through. And as you can see on the quadruple farm and on the individual farm, they haven't actually in a full day harvested the entire lot. So let's have a look. Have they all gone through yet? So stack and a half. Yeah, stack and a half, just over. What we got on the quadruple farm? Okay, just over a stack and a half, so like 10 extra carrots I think that was. Maybe not even that. So let's make a note of those results and then I think let's head off for an hour, but let's get our signs down. So you can see not quadruple the number certainly, so you're not getting any benefit by going up to quadruple the size, or it's certainly not looking that way when you've got a fully bone mealed up farm. Now I'm wondering if this kind of goes more in favour of the quadruple farm the longer we leave it, because they'll have more crops to harvest on subsequent runs. That, you know, I'd expect by the end of the second day in the single farm they're not going to have enough. So yeah, let's make a note of the 97 carrots we got from that run. Awesome. I think it was 106 from the other one. So let's leave it an hour and come back in an hour's time and see how we're doing. Okay, it's been 1 hour. Let's have a look how we're doing at these two farms. So, I mean, even in the individual pod, he's not harvesting everything in the day. And I mean, I've lit these things up like a Christmas tree, as you can see, just so that everything will grow overnight as well, kind of best case scenario. And there's absolutely loads left in the quadruple pod. I mean, this just looks too big. There's no way he's not harvesting anywhere near enough. So I think let's open that up. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and a bit. So okay, 5 and a bit stacks. So 326 carats, I think, in that one. So let's make a note of that. So 1 real hour, and yeah, it's 1 Minecraft day and 1 real life hour. So 326 carats in that one. Okay, let's go and check the other one. And that's 4 and a bit stacks, so 262 carats. So yeah, okay, you're missing out on what, 80, 40, 60-ish carats. But you're 60 carats for quadruple the size, right? It's not a huge difference. So okay, so based on that, I actually want to go ahead and do a few more tests. So I'm going to build 2 more farms. I'm going to build the farms in between these sizes, so essentially 2 pods and 3 pods, and then let's do some more testing. Okay, and I've got the farms built now. It's just important to note on these first 2 farms, I have cleared out the chests. I've replaced the farmer villages just in case they had anything in their inventories. Put all new villagers in, and then I built the 2 new farms. So this one here has 3 of the pods, like so, empty like I say. Villager in, ready to do the harvesting as soon as it goes daytime. And then on the left here, we've got there's 2 pods on this one. So again, we've now got all 4 sizes, because I don't think we obviously need to go up to quadruple the size. So this time I'm going to leave it for 2 real hours, and then I'm going to come back and have a look how we've done. Alright, it's 2 hours later, and let's have a look at the results. All our farmers are in. They're all still talking to the villagers. They're all looking good. You can see them at the back there. Sun's at midday, so we shouldn't get them thrown in any more carrots whilst we do this. So what we got? So 3, 4, 5, 6 and a bit. Okay, let's grab our signs. Yeah, 6 and a bit. Alright, so in 2 real life hours, this quadruple farm has generated 416 carrots, I think that was. And the solo pod, actually, the single pod, is not that much less, considering. Now I think that's more, it's not down to the mechanics of the size of the farm. In this instance, that quadruple farm, I think, is just too big, and if the villager is nowhere near the other villager when it comes to chucking the carrots time, then he just doesn't do it. So what do we get there? 390 off the single pod compared to like 416 off the quadruple. How are we done on the triple pod? So that's looking better. 7 and a bit stacks. 7 stacks and 12. So that's looking a lot better than quadruple. Like I say, and I'll talk about it a little bit more, I think it comes down to the size of the quadruple farm just being too big. So the winner so far at 460. So let's have a look at the double pod. How are we doing on there? And I'm going to have to break that sign. And now that block. I'll just put a temporary block in there. Doesn't matter for now. Ooh, wow, okay. So 8 and a bit stacks. So double pod is the winner. Interesting. So yeah, there we kind of have it. And let's put the numbers down here. So 526 carrots in 2 real hours on the double pod, like far more productive than the quadruple. And yeah, more productive than the triple even. So there we have it, folks. What I actually said was pretty accurate in terms of you don't need to make your farms massive because there are limits in how the villagers work. Let's skip a little ahead a little, because I want to talk a little bit about this quadruple farm and what happened there, and also compare it to my farm designs that I've been doing in my tutorials. So I went ahead and quickly just calculated how many farmable blocks are in each of these designs. So in the single pod we have 80 farmable blocks, so it's a 9x9 square, and then we've missed one out because it's the water source block. In the quadruple we got 320 farmable blocks. As you can see, we're not getting anywhere near the number of carrots extra that you would expect from that. It has gone up a little bit because the farmer did come over and chuck some more in at this time. So he obviously didn't do it on one of the days, which is what I expected. That would mean there's some more in his inventory ready to chuck over. And then in this one here, in the triple one, we have the 240 farmable blocks, and that one did pretty well, but you know, it's pretty par with the 2-pod farmable one, which has, you know, let's get over to it. Here we go. So this one, you know, one less pod, and it's got 160 farmable blocks. So somewhere between the 80 and the 160 farmable blocks is the sweet spot. We don't need to go any bigger than 2 pods. We don't need to go any bigger than 160. If you're building a pod that is, or you're looking at a tutorial for a villager farm and you've got one villager and he's farming more than 160 blocks, you're losing efficiency. You're wasting your time there. You need to split it up and put in a second farmer. So let's head over to the farm design that I made the other day, the stackable farm design and those villager pods. And here we are, we're in the same test world. I tend to use the same world where possible, and each one of the pods that I've been building is 112 farmable blocks, somewhere in between the two designs, which I said to you is the absolute sweet spot for villager farmer mechanics in 1.16. I think I've pretty much clearly demonstrated there, if you go bigger than 2 blocks, you're kind of just wasting your time, you're not getting more output. So if you see a tutorial telling you to build it much bigger with only one villager, they're wrong. They haven't tested it. And if you see one that's 80 or smaller, you're not getting the maximum bang for your buck. So you're spending all that time getting your villager in there, and your farm could be a little bit more efficient if you just extended it a little bit more. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you found it informative. I hope it guides you into choosing the correct tutorial to follow if you're building a villager farm. Of course, I recommend mine. I've scientifically proven it to be a really good size. Anyway folks, that's all I've got time for. If you enjoyed the video, then hit the like button. Please consider subscribing to the channel. I'm always ramping up the amount of content I'm doing, trying to understand the mechanics in Minecraft, as well as my Let's Play series. But anyway folks, that's all I've got time for. I'm Abfielder. Goodbye.